Alrighty, number 3, straight up distance problem. What is the distance between the points -3, 2 and 1, 0? So we know distance or length will come from substituting into this formula. So let me label my givens. I'm trying to find the distance between those 2 points. So this is one endpoint, and the other one is the other endpoint. And we'll just substitute into this equation, all right? And notice how I'm going to fill out the skeleton of the equation first. The radical sign, so I don't forget. A parentheses squared with a subtraction sign. Bring down that plus. Parentheses squared with a subtraction sign. And now I'm going to fill in my givens. Honestly, the order of the x's doesn't matter. The order of the y's doesn't matter. I'll be consistent in here, but you can substitute any way you like, because in the end, order only affects the sign on the number, and when we square it, we'll always get a positive. So let's do 1 minus that -3, and then for the y's, 0 minus that 2. 0 minus that 2. Alright, and when we go to simplify further, inside, we're going to have negative times a negative becomes a giant plus, right? So now this reads 1 plus 3, and that would be 4. And that's getting squared, don't forget. And then to the right, we have 0 minus 2, which is minus 2. Simplifying further, this is 4 squared is 16, negative 2 squared is 4. This is radical 20. So we have our answer for length, but when we look at the multiple choice, I don't see radical 20 anywhere there. There's 2 things you can do. You can simplify this radical using prior knowledge. Basically, you're going to break it up into a perfect square times something else. Or what you can do is, on the calculator, you could do each of these values. Let's see if I can kind of emulate that here. Let me pull up my calculator. So I'm going to take 20 and do the square root, and that gives me 4.4 blah 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 blah, 4.472, 4.472, and so on. I know the answer. I know it's going to be number 4. I just want to show you, you could go through all of them and do that process, and it should match up fairly close. 2 radical 5 means it's the square root of 5 multiplied by 2. And that gives me my 4.72, right? That's one way you can check without knowing how to simplify radicals. But for here, I'll show you how to simplify this radical. Let's look at 20, right? I could break up the number 20 into 4 times 5. They're equivalent expressions. That's why I can put an equal sign there. Well, when we add that radical, we can do the same thing. That radical 20 could be, right now it might not look like I have a reason to do this, but I could, if I feel like it. That could be radical 4 times radical 5, right? That 4 times the 5 gives me that 20. Well, here's why I would do it. If we simplify this further, that radical 4, the square root of 4, we know is 2, because square root says, to get rid of me, you're going to write the number, if there's a number. To get rid of this square root, say what it equals. Is there a number that you can multiply by itself to give you the thing that I'm square rooting? If so, you write that number, right? So 2 is the number that I can multiply by itself. 2 times 2 gives me that number under the radical. That's why radical 4 becomes 2. And then I just bring down my radical 5, because I can't do that. And here you see 2 radical 5 does in fact match up with that answer. Thanks.